Welcome, Bobcats, to another edition of From the Field to the Fans. I'm your host and sports editor here at the University Star, Otis Evagaro, and today I have Cameron Cutshaw with me and Kirk Jones. How you guys doing today?
Pretty good. Excited about this last home game for football, looking to pack the stadium for a potential bowl game.
Yeah, I'm interested to talk about this upcoming weekend. We got volleyball going into the Sun Belt Conference. We got last home game in football. It's going to be an interesting weekend for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Football is going to be something that we're going to hit on a little bit later on in the show, but we're going to talk about volleyball. Sun Belt Conference Tournament has arrived. It is upon us. It starts on Thursday. It's going to be interesting to see how the women come out and they respond. They're going to be the number 3 seed in the tournament, so that should be fun. Basketball, women's basketball, they'll play Hampton on Saturday. They're going to be at home as well. It's going to see how they're going to respond back from losing back-to-back games against Texas and TCU. Men's basketball losing Wednesday night to SMU 70-49, starting the season 0-4. That's got to be brutal for Coach Casper and the men. And then we talk about football. Last home game, senior night. The city has declared Saturday as packed Bobcat Stadium Day. So that should be something interesting to talk about. Before we get into Bobcat athletics, we're going to take our first break from our sponsor, Vapor Essentials. Coach, when you're playing a Western Kentucky team and they're fighting for bowl position as well, what do you expect from a team coming into San Marcos?
These guys are going to play good. They're going to play hard. We're all kind of chasing the same dreams right now, and both of us are fighting for a lot on this game, and you got to expect you're going to get their best shot.
Coach, you're 4-1 for the season, but can you place an emphasis on how important it is for the fans to show up this Saturday, especially playing a team like Western Kentucky?
Well, there's several reasons. It's our last home game. It's our seniors' last home game, and this has been a really special senior bunch to sacrifice and commit to take us through this process of moving from FCS to FBS. And so I would hope our fans would come out and let our seniors know how much they appreciate them. And then, of course, postseason sometimes hinges a little bit on the kind of support you have, and we hope that we can put a good foot forward as we try to get ourselves appropriately dressed up to have an opportunity to go to the postseason.
Coach, after allowing 300-plus yards on the ground against a team like Arkansas State, how do you instill confidence back in your defense, especially going up against a back like Antonio Andrews?
Well, this is a good back. He's going to get his yards because he's going to get touches. But, the thing you tell our guys is you show them what they didn't do well and make sure they understand they played pretty well this year. I mean, we're still pretty good in rushing defense. We didn't have a very good night the other night. So we can do it, and it's not belief without evidence because we have.
As a coach, with these last 2 games, do you ever tell your team, hey, these are statement wins, or these are statement games, or these are must wins? What do you tell your team entering these last 2 games hoping to finish the season 8-4?
I don't ever talk about must. I have told our football team that they'll be a little defined by November. So far we're 1-1 in November. It's still in front of us, and everything really is still in front of us. We lost a little control of our destiny with Arkansas State, but still I think the ultimate things that could happen are positive if we can continue to play well. And we're back here to talk about Bobcat football a little bit. I know you guys saw the interview there with Coach Fran that I did at his Tuesday luncheon. I had a lot of things to say. He doesn't ever tell his teams that there's statement wins coming up. He looks forward to a big crowd, especially for senior night, and thinks it's very important. He had a lot of things to say, but, they're going to play a tough Western Kentucky team. It's a Western Kentucky team that's 6-4. They're bowl eligible. Hey, they're fighting for their lives, too, to make a bowl, just like Texas State is. And it's going to be essential that Texas State does not come out flat. The Western Kentucky is bringing in a very talented senior running back, Antonio Andrews. He is 3rd in the country in rushing with 1,407 rushing yards. To add with that, he has 12 rushing touchdowns as well, has over 2,000 yards all-purpose. This is a versatile guy, and Texas State, they gave up 300-plus rushing yards to Arkansas State, and you bring in a top 3 rusher in the country.
Texas State better have been working on some tackling drills.
Yeah, I mean, coming off your worst game as a rush defense and going against a guy that's third in the nation in rushing is a scary thing. So, I definitely you need to keep an eye on this guy. He does more than just rush. He gets punt returns. He's a great catches the ball well out of the backfield. So, this guy, I think they need to really study up on the film. I know Pena just said that they're going to try kind of check out his tendencies and see what they like to do whenever they get him the ball in what situation. So I definitely think they'll be prepared. They just gotta be realize that this guy is very talented.
Yeah, what a horrible time for Texas State to have a game like they did against Arkansas State.
Yeah, bad timing.
Yeah, you just feel like, oh no, what is happening? What's going to happen? But this is truly a even match. It could go either way. And where do we go from here?
Yeah, and Coach Fran talked about how this is a team that's top 35 in the nation in both offense and defense. Their defense gets overlooked. You have Bobby Petrino there at Western Kentucky, known for that offensive mind, but his defense has played solid as well. And they're going to be looking to stop Robert Lowe and Chris Nuttall. Terrence Franks is starting to sneak his way in there a little bit. Tyler Jones running, finding the balance on offense. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see how Western Kentucky responds. The city of San Marcos has declared Saturday as a Pack Bobcat Stadium Day. Hey, at this point, use any gimmick you can to get those fans out there. Hopefully we get a good crowd. I'm just looking for at least 25,000. I was on Twitter and I tweeted something out a little bit. I said, this game, on average attendance for the 5 home games that we've had so far is 18,264. Wow. Now, this for a stadium that sits 30,000.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, it is.
And the Bobcats have got to realize attendance matters. These bowl committees and getting invited to a bowl is predicated on these bowls selling tickets, and they use average attendance as a measurement to see, hey, will this team sell out? Will they be able to give us the money that we need so that way we don't look dumb in front of the NCAA? So this game is huge. It's really big, and I just don't think you can get invited to a bowl losing your last home game of the season.
Yeah, and if you're not going to have fans come to your home games, why would they come to a bowl? I know it's a bowl game, but I mean they're thinking the right way, and I think this is a must-win. This is Western Kentucky's a good team. It would be a statement win if they won this game. They're really good. They have great players. I just think that this game needs to be won. It's at home. I feel like if you don't win this game, it's not going to look good going forward.
It's not going to look good, especially if we can fill that stadium up to 30,000. Then you don't want to do it in front of a packed house, because then you're just going to show those 30,000 people who are like, "What are we packing this stadium for?"
That's a good point.
Why should we be excited about this bowl eligible team? So you got to show them who we're gonna see who the real Texas State team is Saturday.
Yeah, and I think it's important for Tyler Jones. Coach Fran has talked about how November defines them. They're doing a so-so job, 1-1 in the month of November. They got to finish November 3-1. They got to finish the season 5-1 at home. Right now, they're riding a 3-game winning streak at home, so that's good. They and the only loss at home was against Monroe. You throw those 2 pick sixes. I know a lot of those players have got to be feeling, man, if we would have won that game, we're sitting pretty right now. And these last 2 games aren't as vital as as much emphasis as we're putting on. But, you got to beat Western Kentucky, because you cannot enter that game against Troy thinking, I have to win, because they have to win both games regardless. Yeah, but you got to win your last home game. And Cameron, you make an excellent point. You cannot have a city-proclaimed packed Bobcat Stadium Day, have 25,000 to 30,000 fans in the stadium, and then you lay a stinker. Oh, no. I don't think that. I think that definitely kicks you out of the bowl game discussion.
For sure, and I definitely agree with that. I mean, it's just like if you build all this hype up and you don't deliver, then it's just people are going to wonder why they even support. I mean, come out and support their team. They just think it's the old Texas State from 10 years ago. I just think that they need to come out and they need to get back to how they were playing at the beginning of the year. Give Robert Lowe the ball. The last game they had
14 rushes, 4 catches. It wasn't
good. They kind of went away from Robert Lowe's carries, and I firmly believe that Robert Lowe needs 25 carries a game. I think you have to get him 25 carries. If you don't do that, you're not gonna you're kind of deviating away from the plan. So 25 carries and get Tyler Jones on what he's been doing, about 200 yards. I think that's about what he needs to be around for this game.
Yeah, I agree. You got to get back to that. Who you truly are. You're a running team, and that's fine. If we're gonna win, that's how it's a win is a win is a win. So
That's true.
Another point that I wanted to bring on attendance that I thought of was that let's flip it to the bright. Let's flip the coin. Let's say we do pack the house, 30,000 people, and we go and show them. Does this change the football program? I don't want to say for history, but does this really, will we start filling that stadium every Saturday now? Will people be like, oh, this is something I'm interested in now. I will go wherever the bowl is, or will I start attending all the games next season? Does this game have an impact in that aspect for the future?
Yeah, I definitely do think that the game does have some implications on the future and on recruiting. It's games like this where you place an emphasis on it. A lot of eyes are watching. A lot of eyes will be watching. So, I do think it does play a factor into what happens next year. Showing up to the games, showing up. Seeing that you can support the Bobcat football team. I do think that's very important. This game, it's on Longhorn Network. You're asking the fans to come out. It's time. It's time to show up. It's time for the defense. You got to hit somebody. Last week you couldn't tackle a soul. Literally, you could not tackle a soul. They got to show up. So, Western Kentucky, Texas State, Saturday, November 23rd. Bobcat Stadium. Who do you guys got?
I'm going to go with the Bobcats. I think they'll win. It's going to be tough, though. I just think it'll be a low-scoring game. Both defenses are really great. I think the Bobcats come back off of a down week in rush defense, and I think they contain him, Antonio Andrews. But I still think he'll have a good game because he averaged 150 yards a game. So, but I think they'll go. I think the score will be 20-17 Texas State.
I'm going with the Bobcats as well. I think part of me wants to say this will be the first overtime football game that we've seen in the Coach Fran era. I don't know if that's correct, but I don't remember. One can't come to the top of my head. Yeah. So I think this game truly could go into overtime. They're two even teams. They're going to battle it out. So I got it. He took my score, honestly. So
it's the same one. Maybe there's some lucky thing that goes with that.
Yeah, 2017 was what I was going to say, honestly.
Yeah. All right, I got 2 shout-outs. I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Our copy chief here, Leslie Warren, had told me that every time she's been to a Texas State football game, the Bobcats have won.
Uh-oh.
So,
true.
Leslie, if you listen to this, you better show up to the game. That's one. 2, I'm gonna flip my decision. I told my roommates. That's my other shout out. My roommates. Yeah. They're gonna love that. I told them that I think Western Kentucky beats us on Saturday.
You think
but
so?
You 2 changed my mind. I'm gonna flip it around. I think Texas State wins this 24-17. I think it's gonna be close. Tyler Jones is definitely gonna need to find balance. He's got to be able to show that he can be mature and step up when the bright lights is on. And you made a very good point. Robert Lowe has got to touch the ball 25 times. If he touches the ball 25 times, I guarantee the Bobcats win the football game.
I agree. I
guarantee the Bobcats win the football game.
I like that, and I think that's really true. And I don't know what happened last week and why. Maybe Robert Lowe's the second leading rusher behind Antonio Andrews. So I don't know. I think that's a good point you made.
Yeah. So with all that said, I always get your final thoughts. What are you guys thinking before we get out?
It's a good weekend. I'm excited for the volleyball team on tomorrow or Thursday to come out and pull off the win, and I hope they can make it to the championship. I think they will, so I'm really excited about that.
My final thought is on football. I know the defense had a bad game last week, but what I'm really nervous about is this. I don't want the defense to worry so much about the Western Kentucky, his name slipped in my mind.
Oh, Antonio Andrews. Yeah.
I don't want them to worry so much about him that they kind of don't worry about anyone else. I know they don't have a name that sticks off the paper, but you don't want that name to stick off the paper against us. So I think I really want the defense to play Texas State defense. Be the doom squad that you claim yourself to be. I think if they do that, Robert Lowe touches the ball 25 times, I think we're going to get a win on Saturday.
Good luck, volleyball. You're going to be playing in the tournament. Good luck, women's basketball. You're going to be playing Hampton at home on Saturday. But guess what? Saturday night, 6 o'clock p.m., Western Kentucky, Texas State. The city has proclaimed packed Bobcat Stadium Day. Bobcats win 24-17. With that said, for Kirk Jones, Cameron Cutshaw, I'm your host and sports editor here at the University Star, Otis Evagaro, and like always, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Stage combat is the study in the form of combat on stage, of creating safe, believable violence for TV and for stage and for film. It's a combination of taking real combat and adding safety protocols to it and changing it up a little bit and creating a bit of a storytelling aspect and putting it all together to create something that you can see on stage or on screen to believably tell the story of what's happening through the violence.
The second your hand gets here, right above their head, you can feel their hair. Close your fist. There's actually nothing there, okay?
Beginning stage combat is basically beginning body movement, body awareness, getting balance and strength built up. We start off with rolls and falls, and then we go through the basics of violence, of pushes, of pulls, of slaps, of punches, of kicks, of anything in that gamut, anything that's unarmed. We start with unarmed combat so that we get used to how our bodies move and how they react and what we can do with them.
So we are the oldest organization on campus. We have a really rich history and very active alumni. We've been around since Southwest Texas State, before we were even Texas State University. We have a big history with epee, which is of the three weapons the largest in the state of Texas. There's epee, foil, and saber. And the main differences are how the points are scored. Depending upon the blade. So for epee, the whole body is considered to be target area, whereas in foil, only the back and torso, and in saber, the arms, wrist, and torso, and as well as the back are the target area. Another difference is that in epee and in foil, touches are scored with a point, whereas in saber, touches are scored with a cut. We don't require any prior experience for you to join our organization. We teach anyone from beginners, and we also have community members who don't have to be involved in the university system to come in to join the organization. All that's required is that you sign a waiver from the university stating that you're here and that you're practicing a sport, and we just kind of take the rest. What we do with our beginners is we pair them up, we try and use the buddy system, and we intro you into the sport starting with the basics, which is your feet. This is such a great organization, and the people that you meet here have impacted me and impacted so many others in great ways. We're really just a bunch of friends, and the best part about fencing is that we get to come here and beat up on each other a little bit and then still get to hang out with your bestie afterwards.
So there are three dudes, myself, Terry Alford, actually my brother-in-law, and a long life friend of ours, Ron Pena. So we are the three dudes, the original three dudes. We actually got our license back in 2005, and here we are. I mean, we're a winery that produces 1,000+ cases a year, and enjoying every minute of it. Today we're actually bottling our Texas Red, and some of our wines we buy the grapes and bring them here and crush and distill. There is a small amount of the wines that we'll buy in bulk and bring here. The wine we had here, it was in tanks. We got 6 250-gallon tanks. We got 3 500-gallon tanks. We start at 7 o'clock in the morning or earlier, and we spend 6 hours cleaning and prepping we spend 4 hours bottling and we spend another 6 hours cleaning. So wine is 98% of cleanliness. You know, we've been growing steadily since, you know, we opened the tasting room doors in October of '06, and so, you know, we'll do 1,000 this year. We'll do 1,200 next year, and we'll see how big we want to get. You know, we don't want to. I'm not going to say we're going to be a 50,000 case winery, but you know, we'll shoot for 3,000 and see what we want to do from there. We have an absolutely beautiful place here right on the San Marcos River. I mean, wow, you know, how lucky are we? So we got a tasting room. Obviously, we have our production facility in the back where we like to give tours and, you know, let people sample out of the tanks, which is, you know, that's cool. We got, you know, it's 2 acres. We got the San Marcos River, like I said, in the back. We cater to, you know, weddings. We've had multiple weddings this year already. We do private events, private parties. I enjoy wines. You know, and after I kind of understand how wine's made and what it takes to make wine, I appreciate it a lot more, and it's just, you know, I enjoy doing it.
The show is called Designated Drivers, and that's an interesting play on words. It's because basically inside of there's a whole wall with USB drives that you can plug up into and like just download loads of artwork from people that were functioning as part of this collective that started like up in the 90s, I guess up until now. And you know, a lot of that work is not really accessible online or anything. It's just really a really authentic experience. And there's some pretty cool zines in there that have information, documents, and, you know, like just kind of writings that are from like 1990s up until now. So the collective was, they were interested in creating some artwork that breaks the boundaries of like traditional art. They wanted to collect, you know, bits of work and information, expression, and creativity from other sources, from like doodles, from, you know, the expression of choosing a record and putting it on the player. Like, how do we express ourselves creatively if it's not like through the methodology of doing a painting and the networking of getting in a gallery? Like, how does creativity function on a more like grassroots, ground level kind of way? Some people might actually be turned off by the fact that it's not traditional. I think others, and like hopefully most people, can appreciate it as like, yeah, definitely more exciting for that reason. It's cool. It makes you expand your idea of what art and creativity actually is. Cool. We had the opening last week. And I thought that was kind of cool. It was an interesting experience. You go in there and first thing, Derek Durham's like, "Can I put a record on?" And so he puts a record on, and everyone's just kind of like exploring the space at first. I just had these like this really cool imagery of like, I felt like I was in someone's like garage. Like, I swear I saw someone light up a cigarette at one moment. I was like, oh wait, no, we're in a gallery space. It's like, there's these zines hanging from the ceiling. I was just like standing in the middle of the gallery, like reading a magazine. It was a really cool, like, intimate experience. And I felt like it felt cool in that way. It kind of takes you out. It kind of takes you away from that gallery experience. I mean, yeah, it's in that space, but it's also functioning on a more cerebral level in a different space too.
We have a light drizzle in San Marcos with a high today in the low 60s. A cold front pushed through overnight, increasing the chance of rain for the rest of the week. The lows tonight in central Texas will average in the 50s. There's a hope that rains will help the region recover from a sustained drought.